What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another show of He Said, She Said. It's your main man, Jarvis. I got my two compadres in here with me, and today we are going to discuss the topic of domestic violence. So we want everyone to tune in, share this. If you're already watching, please share the video so as many people as possible can hear this. We think this is a very important topic, but I'll go ahead and let my two compadres go ahead and introduce themselves as if you guys don't already know who they are.
Go ahead.
What's going on, everybody? For the first time joining us, your girl, Chrissy J, on the ones and twos. That's what I do.
Yeah, you already know what it is. It's plain old boring old Q Walk in the build. So let's get on right on into the show today.
That's a lie. Right.
That domestic violence, man, this ain't the type of show to be playing around today. What's going on, Tasha? So, when we thought up, for the show topic for this week, Tina, you brought up domestic violence. What made you want to bring up this topic of domestic violence today?
To be honest with you, it wasn't anything in particular. I just kind of thought about it. I myself, which I'm always open to share my stories, dealt with it for years in previous relationships, and I've actually recently seen where there's men that deal with it and they don't get the same treatment as women, or the same compassion that women get.
Gotcha.
So I just want to speak about something that's real.
Okay.
And that goes unnoticed a lot.
All right. So since we're speaking on something that's real today, let me throw out some statistics today that I was looking up. That I think I wanted to wait till a lot of people started jumping on to go over these statistics, and I see people starting to join on here. 40% of female murder victims are killed by intimate partners. So I'm gonna run that back one more time. 40% of female murder victims are killed by intimate partners. So if we lined up 10 females in here right now, 4 of them will get killed by their significant other. And I was looking at that as I was, going through my research today, and that number is so high. And I think a large part of it is because I think a lot of women always, well, I'm gonna say always, but I can't speak for women, but I think a lot of women feel like that extreme won't happen to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That he'll just be beating them, but he won't beat them or do something that will cause her death. And it just alarms me that 40%, that's a high number, 40% of all female victims are murder victims. And then also I was looking at it, approximately 5 million children are exposed to domestic violence every year. Children exposed are more likely to attempt suicide, abuse drugs and alcohol, run away from home, engage in teenage prostitution, and commit sexual assault crimes.
Damn.
That's correct. And speaking of that, that's what, now that you said that, is something I was watching the other day on baby girl Malia, whose mom left her with the stepdad, boyfriend or whatever, and he ended up, I guess he murdered her.
Is that the little girl who got beat to death or whatever?
Houston. I don't think, last I checked, they hadn't found the body, but the mom was on the news crying out, pleading for everybody to help find her, so they did like a search or whatever. She, special needs child, she just had, did they? I don't remember. They found blood in the bathroom in the house, and they seen him walking out of the house with a laundry basket and a black sack. But we got the mom on here crying, saying that she left him because she found out he was sexting some guy. But then she's on her saying he was physically abusive to my daughter, and we believe he once molested her. Well, why would you leave her with him? Like, that makes no sense.
I mean, maybe you could speak to this as well, Tina. I don't understand it as well. Like, what makes a woman stay? Because I was also looking at something here, a lot of people believe that domestic abuse happens in marriage as well. Majority of physical abuse is committed by dating partners rather than spouses. Meaning that people who are just in relationships are the ones who are getting abused. What would make a woman, or what makes women want to stay in abusive relationships?
To be honest with you, like, I was young when I first started dealing with an abusive relationship. And I just remember, and this goes all the way back from, no knock to him, but my dad didn't raise me. I was raised by a bunch of women, and I came from an era where they didn't talk to you about things, because it's kind of like, if we talk about it, then it's going to happen. They didn't talk about sex. They didn't talk about anything that, as a young woman, I should know. And no matter how much they tried to love me not having my parents there always made me feel kind of like left out. You know, in a sense, I mean, I love my family, they did everything they could, but I still kind of felt that void.
Mm-hmm.
So because I felt that void, I would fill it by dealing with men that maybe wasn't always so good for me. And they say that we get what we attract. I wanted somebody to need me. You know what I mean? I wanted to be wanted and I wanted to be needed. So I would get with these guys that were, I guess, dealing with their own emotional issues, and I allowed them to take that out on me. And because I love them, it's kind of like he loves me. And I really felt that thought of, well, if he didn't hit me,
Yeah.
he must really care.
Why do women equate hitting to him showing how much he loves you?
And I think a lot of that, and I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but what do your parents tell you when you young and they whoop you?
Yeah.
I do it because I love you. It's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. And sometimes people don't, let's just explain properly, people don't know how to separate the two. It meshes together. So as you're growing up, and I know this in the black homes is what I can say is, your parents tell you, I'm only doing it because I love you and I want to protect you and I want you to be safe. So we equate being physically abused sometimes, even as we become adults. So it's kind of like, well, he loves me, he cares about me, or he's jealous, or I used to think, well, if he's mad, at least he cares about me. At least I know he wants me. And I kind of dealt with it. But I wasn't one to continue to deal with it. And I never fought back. I wasn't one of those in a relationship. I just kind of dealt with it. I kept quiet about it. I left one relationship, and it happened even when I was pregnant. You know what I mean? And I just kind of kept it from a lot of people, you know. And I would tell myself, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like, he loves me. I left that relationship, went to another relationship, dealt with the same thing. You know, I dealt probably from the age of 16 until 31. I dealt with multiple abusive relationships. And I never fought back because I honestly felt that if I fight back, I'm going to kill him. Like, I'm a thinker. And that's one thing that I can say. I'm not a reactor. And in my mind, it's like, if I really hit him, I'm going to do something to really try to hurt him. And I don't want to go to jail. Like, these are my thoughts. But why I kept dealing with it is just because I just wanted that love. Like, I wanted to be with this person I felt that loved me. And they would come back and they would cry. And they would say, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't mean it. I love you. It'll never happen again.
And that's the part that I think that I want to touch on. But I've never experienced any domestic abuse towards me. Or, you know, and I don't mean to laugh at that because I know men do go through domestic
15% of men are abused.
Yeah.
And that's what they show.
But,
yeah.
And I've never seen it happen. But that's not to say that, you know, a couple I know don't go through it. I just don't see it. But to me, it seems like, and I've heard people who have been in domestic abusive relationships have said that it's really initially it starts out being so mental.
That's my next question. Like, how does it even start out? Like, does the man just, like, for you, Tina, I'm gonna let you finish, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Like, how did it start? Like, did he mentally break you down first and then started, you know, abusing you, or just the abuse just came like all at one time?
I was already myself, low self-esteem, mentally broke down. So just on top of that, just pushing it down further and further and further, and me feeling like not really feeling that love, and, you know, mentally them telling you nobody's gonna love you like I do, or even the fact that I had 3 kids. You got 3 kids by 3 different people. Who's really gonna want you? You know, and because you love that person, when I love hard. So it's just that fear of walking away. You know what I mean? Like, they did break you down, and you really love that person, and you really want to believe that this person is going to change. So, yeah, I mean, I do think a lot of it is mental. I mean, it has to be.
Now, this is the question that I have, like, for the most part, is for the men or women that are abusive to their significant other, do they typically seek out women or men that are more vulnerable to accepting it, or is it just whatever relationship they get in, they gonna try it?
I think they just try it. And some of the relationships that I've been in, and I can't say one for sure. I know, you know, I've never known his dad to be abusive to the mom, but another one, they were like, that's what he's seen his dad do. And it's kind of like, I'm gonna try it, and if I get away with it, kind of like kids, If I try and I get away with it, then it becomes more and more. Because at first it was just kind of like a little shove, you know. Then it was a choke. Then it gets to the point to where, you know, you might get choked till you black out. Or you get bruises and they know what they're doing because they bruise you to where people can't see it.
So it sounds like, I don't know what's the word, to a serial abuser, I guess, if that's the word. Like, they know they've been doing this to other women, so they know the tricks in the trade to where they can do it to where when you out and about, nobody will question you to be like, is she getting abused at home?
Or that, or you have some people, I've seen relationships where after I've been with the person, the girl fights back. So then it becomes this thing where they fighting each other. You know what I mean? He may put in,
But
and then they
but are they fighting? Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Are they fighting back and still staying together?
Yes, that's my point.
But that's crazy.
Fighting
though.
back and still staying together. And I think this is what most people miss. A lot of people think that physical abuse is really the only form of abuse, and it's not.
They need
Like,
to be in boxing or something.
You know, when you have emotional and mental abuse, like that can break somebody down just as well, even as putting your hands on them.
So what would you say is worse, physical or mental abuse? Like physically putting their hands on you, turning you down, or mentally just tearing you down?
Mentally and emotionally.
As a woman, what do you
To
think?
be honest with you, I think that you can't really put levels to it, because if they physically abusing you, they've already mentally broke you down for you to feel like that it's okay for you to stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or either you're scared. Like, I used to volunteer at a domestic abuse home, and some of these women in here like literally said that they've been with their guy, they have been with their husbands for 20 years, right? Husband's the breadwinner, they going out doing everything they need to do, they were a housewife, they had this, they took care of the kids, got them to the point to where they completely were dependent upon this person, to where if they walked away they literally had nothing. And not that it was about money, but just, where do I go from here? Where do I even start to live my life? I'm scared, to the point where they've told them, if you leave me, I will kill you.
Yeah, and that goes back to the statistics that I was reading about earlier about that as well. I got another one right here. 94% of murder-suicide victims are females. Like, that's
From domestic abuse.
from a domestic, 94% of murder-suicides are females from a domestic abusive relationship.
Let me ask you this, Tina. From your experience, and I don't know if you've talked to anyone else who's been in a domestic violent relationship, but are those men just as aggressive towards other men too? Like, are they like the tough guy out in the streets, or are they really soft out in the streets?
Nope.
But then when it comes to a female,
Yep.
they turn into Mike Tyson.
Yeah. No, seriously, the ones that I've dealt with, no, have not been that tough guy, like out in the street, like the alpha male, whatever. Two totally different people. I remember one relationship I was in, and I was telling people, he's close to his family, like, look, he puts hands on me. Nobody believed it. People thought I was lying because he's the sweetest guy out in the streets. We was at an event one day, a party. We were actually broke up. Man, he seen me dancing with a guy. He literally picked me up by my throat, choked me, and threw me. And everybody was looking like, oh my God, like, what is going on? Because people thought I was lying.
But didn't nobody beat him up?
Did nobody say anything? You said y'all was at a party, right?
Yeah.
And nobody said nothing. Nobody did nothing. And that's the part that confuses me sometimes too. It goes back to what you was about to comment on, Jarvis, is that when people are out and about for whatever it is, and they see a woman getting physically abused, everybody just walks on by and minds their business.
And I'm gonna tell you what I've learned, and this is me, is where I feel a lot of people don't do it, because I've seen situations, because 9 times out of 10 the woman goes back.
Okay.
They get involved in a situation, but we've got to stop that, because we never know. We don't know why she's going back. Is she scared? Or sometimes it gets turned on them. It's been a situation, I've seen it on TV, on real life situations, where they're trying to help, and they end up beating up the dude, and the woman ends up trying to fight him because he's beating her dude up so bad.
But yeah, that part, and I think, like, honestly, like, and I'm not even trying to be one of those guys that are just like, nah, don't help. But at the same time, like, for a stranger, say if I'm a man that's just walking by and I see you getting beat on, I don't know your man from the next man on the street. I don't know if he got a gun on him. I don't know what he got on him, right? So if I decide to go help because I feel like just morally it's the right thing to do, and this man pull out a gun and shoot me,
Yeah. I got you.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I think nowadays, like you gotta be. I mean, in any day, you gotta be careful of dealing with business that's not yours.
Or call the police.
Or call the police. That's like, unless he was like beating you to a bloody pulp, and really that's hard to say because I know me. If I were to see a woman like really getting beat by a man, like it would eat me up to not do something. Like it would eat me up not to like physically at least try to restrain him, or I mean even if I don't, hit him, I would have to restrain him and be like, dude, like this ain't where it's at, or I would be trying to remove you, but I know if I remove you, he's gonna try to get physical with me. So
it's a fine line.
It's a fine line.
It's hard. I'm gonna tell y'all two things. So I had one of my best friends, niece. She didn't date this guy, and I had posted about it, so most people know. It happened in Louisville. This guy was stalking her in an apartment. She wasn't even dating him, right? Comes up to her one day, gets in the door. She didn't know he knocked. She opened it. As she opened it, he attempted to go in and rape her. And on top of that, not only raped her, he stabbed her over 20 times. He slit her throat and her wrist. And I'm telling you, because this is real. And she's screaming right before he slices her throat. She's screaming. She's trying to get help. Now, she's in an apartment, right? Not one person called the police. Not one person came to help. What happened was she played for dead because when he slit her throat and stuff, he thought that he shot at her, but he missed.
Damn.
She played for dead.
I heard that story.
I posted about it, right? Because I did a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
This kid, he left the door open and ran out. This kid comes by and he sees her laying in there, right? And he calls the police. And so when they start asking everybody, like, yo, like, did y'all hear it? They were just like, yeah, we just thought somebody was like, you know what I mean? Like fighting. And my thing is like, she could have died because nobody wanted to step in and help. She's screaming for her life because I didn't want to get involved. I didn't want something to happen to me. But like, what if it was your daughter? Like, what if it was your mom? You would want somebody to help. And I just feel like we have got to stop just sitting back, letting things that don't, I get it, like, oh, well, that doesn't concern me, just overtake us. Because you never know what's happening. I mean, even outside of that story, this is my story, it happened. My husband used to tell me all the time, I don't get involved in other people's business. He was like you, right? If it ain't my business, I'm not getting involved with it. First time I went to visit him in California, he had an ex that came to his house, started acting crazy. Police got called. They arrested him because she had a scratch on her arm where she fell back. They arrested him. He was about to go to jail. He didn't do anything. She broke in his house. A neighbor came across that didn't know him, said, listen, I don't know this man. First I was watching, but I can't let y'all do what y'all was doing. She broke in his house. He did nothing. Had it not been for that man to come over to say that he corroborated my husband's story, he would have been in jail. My husband said, from then on, my whole mindset changed. Because had he not just been that person to watch out, I would have been in jail. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so many situations. I get it. It's like we don't want to get involved. If it's nothing more than calling the police, something. We can't just walk by on the streets and just act like stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel you for sure. And I mean, I'll tell you one of the things that's kind of sickening to me. I mean, you know, especially when I really sit back and think about it, it's like this new world of everyone wanting to world star everything. You know what I'm saying? You know, world star, the whole little slogan, like people videoing stuff and doing that. Because I've seen that, you know, with those things. And I got to the point, honestly, like, and I know World Star has other information on there, but there's so much of that stuff going on there where I completely blocked World Star out. Because I was
ain't
like,
looked on World Star in years.
In years.
Yeah.
And I told myself, man, I was like, man, I can't, like, one, I just don't, you know, there's certain stuff, like, I feel like it's just information I don't even want to see or deal with. But yeah, that's like, I mean, it's kind of sick the way, you know, the world is. But I guess that's
wired now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
people are scared, and that's this. It's not, and I don't even think it's so much that people don't care. People are scared to get involved. Like you said, what if he comes out and shoots me? What if something happens and my life gets taken because I'm trying to help somebody else? It's not just that people don't care. People are genuinely scared to get involved anymore. And I think about it all the way back to the end. What if our people were scared to make movements and do what they did? We'd still be living in slavery. Yeah. You know what I mean? People have got to make sacrifices to make the world better.
Now,
for everyone else. Like,
but that's kind of, I mean, you know what I'm saying? To just to go back to your situation, to say that you was like at a club or a dance or whatever, I don't know how old you were.
we were down at the Hyatt. Matter of fact, we was at a Derek Anderson party.
Yeah, and to see, and for all them men in there, to see this man come and grab you by your neck and throw you across the room, like they could have jumped him easy.
Well, they wasn't gonna do it because number one, he had a lot of brothers and they were all down there and they seen it. And
You mean
they
brothers like fraternity brothers
no,
or brothers like brothers?
brothers.
Okay.
And even they were looking like
Well, they should.
Oh,
They
Yeah,
should.
where was the brothers at?
they were right there, and they just kind of took him out. They asked me if I was okay, and they kind of took him out of the spot. You know what I mean?
Like, but did they grab him immediately? Cause like my immediate reaction.
I
was
think
like,
everybody was shocked because nobody wanted to believe what I was telling them. So when they seen it, it was just kind of like, yo. So immediately after he did it, and everybody's like, what is going on? Because, people start crowding around. When he's sitting there choking me, like literally lifted me off the ground and was choking me. And people's like, what's going on? Like, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop doing that or whatever. But they weren't helping. So then he threw me and he comes over like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, just get away from me. You know what I mean? And then his brothers, after he did it,
So after he threw you across the room, then he tried to come basically console you.
But that was him. Like,
but I'm gonna be honest with you, and this is just me, and the way my mind operates. If I see my brother doing that or any of my partners doing that, like just on GP, if I see it, I'm probably gonna hit my partner or my brother. It may not be in the face, but I'm gonna hit him in the chest or something, or grab him up, or like really be aggressive with him, because I really think. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying what they do is what I do, but it is a reflection of me as well. Like
Because you hanging around them.
Like that's a reflection of me, and that's the second part of it. The first part of it, I feel like it's just wrong in general. Like regardless of what y'all got going on, he shouldn't be Undertaker slamming you in no party or at home behind closed doors or whatever. But I just feel like, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there to see the whole situation, man. So I don't want to, really speculate on how everything was. And you said he went and, tried to do what he did and his brothers removed him. So maybe in that setting, I don't know, maybe that was
Let me ask you this, and this might be too deep, and if it is, I completely understand. Do you think a lot of domestic and physical abuse situations lead into sexual assault situations between that man and that woman?
I've had a situation like that before because.
But it's not all situations.
No, I can't speak on everybody else, but I know that it happened to me before because they feel like they become powerful. The more that you stay, it gives them more power, and they feel like you're weaker because why aren't you walking away? And so to them, it speaks like. The one I was with, the one that probably did the most, he was be like, "Don't you dare tell me no." Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of like he was my dad and I was a child. Like, how dare you tell me no? So even if it came to, wanting to have sex or whatever, I wasn't allowed to say no, whether I wanted to do it or not. You know what I mean? And I can't come in and say, oh, well, this is what he did, like he raped me or whatever. Because, I was willing, whether I wanted to or not, I still did it. And I think the part that people don't understand or they get misconstrued is they always be like, why doesn't the woman just walk away? And it's not always that easy. Like
I was under that same impression. Actually, I had an ex when we got together. She had just got out of an abusive relationship, and she would like tell me all these stories about one instance, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this as well. One instance, she said that they were over at a friend's house, and this friend's house was like in the country somewhere. And he would be joking with her, like, I kill you and bury you in the woods and will nobody ever find your body. And like he would be laughing when she told me he would be laughing when he says this type of stuff. And the reason why I asked you about the sexual assault part is because they were going to court over the custody of their child when I met them, right? Mm. So when she was writing up this, I don't know, whatever it was, letter to give to the attorney to, justify why, she needs custody and why he needs to stay away from the child. She was, basically numbering off all the times he had assaulted her. And then it got to the point where he sexually assaulted her. And after that part, I couldn't read it no more because like it made me emotional. And I'm like, dang, like you in a relationship, and you still taking it from this woman like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked you that, because reading that from her, I was like, well, does this happen more often than not with women, where they get in a relationship where they get abused, but then that abuse turns into sexual assault from the man as well, and he just does whatever he wants to do to the woman?
Now let me also ask you this: is this like a trait, right? Like, could it be like a control trait or something like that? And I'm probably taking it to a whole level that we can't even understand. You know, some of us may not be able to understand, but maybe like from a psychological standpoint, is there indicators that like a man or a woman could see when they're dealing with somebody?
Like a trait that you can look at him and be like, he's probably abusing this girl. He's probably abusive.
I mean, I'm sure there is with me.
Or could it be just something simple as in him starting out telling you like little stuff like, I don't like when you wear your hair like it. Nah, you need to change it.
Yeah.
So
like,
he's trying to control
yeah.
everything you're doing, and then eventually, I mean, you know what I'm saying? If it's something that
it turns out something subtle into something bigger.
That's how I turned it. That's how I was definitely with one of my relationships. I mean, I was young. I was probably 17 dealing with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, you know, if it's nothing more than, I mean, and when I look back up, I'm like, heck, I was stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, why was I dealing? But then I understood that, you know, my mental wasn't strong. Nothing more. I remember he took a sheet, and it's not funny, but he had my arms like this, right? He would literally just hold me like this, so I couldn't move. I couldn't do nothing. Now you're going to sit here and talk. I don't want to talk about it. Like, you did what you did or whatever. Like, I found out he cheated on me. He literally took a sheet. You know how they put you in the, you know, like, psych?
Yeah.
And tied me up so I couldn't move. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of one of those, like, I want to be able to control every move that you do. And for me, when I let them have that control, it was weird. It was like, it made me feel good to uplift them, if that makes sense. Like,
you would rather them feel good
yes.
than you feel bad. Like, you didn't care how you felt, as long
exactly.
as they
felt good. It was, and that's how I've always been throughout my life. I always had put other people before me, no matter what it was. And it could be friendships. It could hurt me, but as long as I'm not hurting them, then I'm okay. And that was a self-esteem issue that I had within myself that I had to be able to break and deal with. You know what I mean? And then what they don't understand, and for me, is I dealt with it. I dealt with it for years, like I told you, from probably 17 to 30, 31. And then because you deal with it for so long, and then once you say no, enough is enough, and you walk away, they don't understand it. Like, hold on, how did you all of a sudden just get so strong to where you walked away? And it wasn't that I got strong, it's that, and these are problems that I had. Somebody else would come in my life, and at that time made me realize, you don't have to deal with this. So I used other relationships to get out of that situation. So I found myself overlapping relationships, going from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. And whether I was dealing with physical abuse or mental abuse, I was taking it. And these are the people that I was attracting. It's like, some people be like, well, why do you keep... This is what I'm attracting. Because this is the energy for me that I was putting off of what I would accept in a relationship. Of not putting my foot down from the beginning of the relationship and putting expectations of what I will accept and what I don't accept. And like you said, the little things. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, basically controlling you. And when I was young, it was so... I mean, I can remember being 16, working at McDonald's, having a baby, and not take enough money out for my baby and just give my boyfriend the whole paycheck. Because I wanted him to feel like a man. He wasn't working. And I wanted him to feel good about himself. And I would ask him for money out of my paycheck. I mean, these are things that I used to do. You know what I'm saying? And it was always, for me, uplifting somebody. But I never wanted to deal with physical abuse. It just kind of happened, and I just kind of dealt with it.
So let me ask you this. Like, how much of an effect do you think it had that your dad necessarily wasn't in your life in the beginning? I know you kind of just, like, briefly touched on it earlier, but...
Oh, a lot. Like, to be real with you, like... And it didn't have to be my dad, that I didn't have an influential, strong male figure there, period. Whether it had been an uncle, whether it had been somebody else. But I'd say 85%. Because I didn't have a man there to be able to tell me. Because, you know, my family with women, like I said, is kind of in the black family. You don't talk about stuff. You just don't deal with it. It's kind of brush over, hey, you're a woman, these are the things you need to be able to accept and not accept and be okay with, and don't let a man do this. I learned everything through experiences that I went through. My dad not being there, and not even just not having him, I didn't have my dad or my mom. My dad not being there really took a toll on me when I was younger, more than what I thought, and didn't really understand until I got older, and that's why I went through depression. You know, your family can't understand because they looking like, we give you love, you got everything you have, like, there's nothing wrong with her. Ain't nothing wrong with her, she just wants attention.
That's the attention, yo.
You just want attention. It might have been that I wanted attention, but it went into depression, and depression goes into you dealing with things that you shouldn't deal with because you don't feel good about yourself, which leads to, like we talked about before, you know, suicide attempts or anything, or just always feeling a certain way. I've dealt with that in relationships to where I was just like, I just don't want to be here no more. If I got to go through this, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm such a good person. Not that I'm perfect, but why can't somebody just love me and do right by me?
Yeah,
and then I started realizing, you know, when I say this, don't take it the wrong way, it was me. And I say not that it was me, I'm taking the blame for what they did. I am holding myself accountable for allowing it to begin and continue and continue and continue and not walk away. Because I have to have some accountability in that. People are only going to do what you allow them to do.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, my situation is different. There are women where I've seen they're genuinely scared. I like I said, I've done so much volunteering with that, where the husband has said, I will kill you. Yeah. Or the kids. Or the husband has all the money, so I'll take the kids away if you leave. You know what I mean? Or they're married to police officers. That's the worst that I've seen. That's the worst.
I've seen.
That's the worst.
That's a whole different type of fear on topic, because you're like, dang, he's a police officer. He can do anything he wants.
And get away with.
Yeah, that's the. And I want to go back to a couple of comments here as I was going through. One lady, her name is Lotus Griffin. I don't know if either one of y'all know her.
Yeah.
She said this is the first time she's actually shared her story publicly or on air. I don't know if you guys seen this in the comment section. But she said both of her incidents happened because they were caught cheating. The first time, I got my jaw broken. The second time, my leg was broken. Lotus, I would like to know, like, what made you go back after your jaw was broken or after your leg is broken? Because, I mean, Chrissy, you probably speak to this as much. Something that drastic, what would make you want to go back? Like, you got your jaw broken. So, I mean, what would make you want to go back to that situation?
And I don't.
Well, real quick, Lotus. If you just heard everything that was said, did you go back after those incidents, or?
Yeah, that's a better question. Yeah.
Or did you leave those relationships?
Because I would like to know if she did go back, what would make her go back?
Go back.
Because I mean, having your leg broke and having your jaw broke. It's one thing to get abused to where it's bruises and scratches and all that type of stuff. Not saying that that's still not a big concern, but when you starting getting your bones broken, how can you go back to a man after that?
I think like, and just going back to what Chrissy was saying when you asked her like which one is worse, physical or emotional. Like I think like one, yes, it may not be any different for some people, but some people can deal with physical. Like I'm the type of person where I can deal with physical pain and not show any emotion of being hurt or crying or anything like that. But I'm a more emotional person. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, someone could hurt my feelings and it affect me more than if somebody was just to come up and punch me in my face. Like physically the pain, I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? I could take that.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's different in a sense, man. But I think, man, just going back, man, I think, and we'll go ahead and touch on what Lotus said. So she said she didn't go back after the jaw was broken, but regretfully, I did go back after my leg was broken. So yeah, we would like to know the answer to that, Lotus. I mean, if you can, like, what made you go back? And it's not a thing like we're not judging you.
No. So we just want to have a better understanding. You know, as guys, we want to have a better understanding of what goes through a woman's mindset of being abused and something drastic happened that makes her still want to go back. Like, what did he do? Did he make promises of change and, you know, all that type of things that made you want to go back? Like, what exactly happened? Because I want to get a better understanding as well, because I have a daughter, and you gotta move your phone from the,
sorry.
There you go. So, I would say to Quiggy, she said love is a powerful drug.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So would you say that was in your situation too, Chrissy?
Yeah, you love them and you're scared. Love and fear. You know what I mean? A lot of people is fear and a lot of people is just love. Like, whether it's physical abuse, what would make you stay there if somebody calls you a stupid MFer or cusses you out every day? Like, what would make you think that it's okay? Whether they physically put their hands on you, or they sitting there just beating you down with words every day. Like, what would make you, because you love that person.
Yeah.
And it's hard to walk away from.
To go back, skimming through the comments here, Taquita, she says, some women think that when a man is a little controlling, it's because he's really into you or he is madly in love with you, and they don't see those subtle signs until it's too late.
I mean, I could see that. I could see where, like, if somebody was like, no, don't go out. Why you always want to go out? Why you don't want to spend time with me? I could see how that would manipulate.
When I was younger, I felt that way, not as an adult. And my mindset right now is totally different.
I mean, and everybody's different too.
I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Some people may not have hit that stage yet, but it's good that you have come to that stage. And
because I've seen it before, and I just can't. I'm not. I mean, I couldn't be in a relationship where somebody physically abused me again. I couldn't do it.
Of course not now because of what all you've been through and the growth that you have as a person.
Yeah.
And as a woman, there's no way you could put yourself through that again. Or you would know the signs beforehand. I know what's coming. I know what's coming down the pipe. So I'm not.
I don't even allow that situation. See, I was allowing the control to be okay. Thought it was cute. Oh, he don't want me to go out. He loves me. You know what I'm saying? He wants to spend time with me. No.
Nah, you just trying to keep your head in the house.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
That's all that is.
Yeah, you grow.
Well, let's see. Lola, she's comment. She said, I met the guy that broke my leg during a very vulnerable situation in my life. I felt broken due to my circumstances, but at the end of my last relationship, I realized he had broken me down even more to the point that I didn't value myself, and I'm currently still trying to rebuild and learn to love myself all over again.
Love yourself, girl.
All day. Talk about that process of once you leave that type of situation, learning to love yourself and finding yourself all over again. Talk about what type of process that is.
Let me be honest with you. Like I told you earlier, I overlapped relationships from the time I was 15.
So you never got a time to heal.
I never healed because I'm overlapping relationships, and so this guy's treating me right. I'm loving him. I'm just doing whatever, loving him, not even giving myself time to rebuild myself. And I can honestly say that's why with my relationship with my husband, I think that's why we were able to come and mesh together, because I gave myself a 2-year break from my last relationship. Like, I talked to people and I dated, but I didn't get involved in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need that time to be able to heal. And it came to the point where that was the most I've ever gotten to know myself. 2 years. This time, I think when I met my husband, I was 32. So from the time I was 15 to the time I was 32, I spent loving everybody else more than I love myself.
15 to 32.
It's years. You don't even realize it's years after years after years after year. You just go, and you're in relationships, and you just hurt, and you try to cover that hurt by being with somebody else. So during those 2 years, I loved myself more. I was able to love my kids more, because for me, I couldn't be the best mother I needed to be when I was going through that stuff. That wasn't healthy for them. You know what I mean? Now, it didn't happen a couple times. I think a situation happened. Other than that, I couldn't truly be there or love them or be what I needed to be for them. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Lotus. It's really trying to rebuild yourself and love yourself enough to be able to understand and have that self-confidence to say it's okay to be alone. And ladies, that was my problem. I never wanted to be alone. I didn't know how to be alone. I didn't know how to be by myself. And once I was okay with myself and loving myself and learning how to be alone, then I presented myself differently to relationships and the men that I was with. Until then, anybody that wasn't abusive may have come and be abusive because I was that weak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was that weak.
Oh man, you and Lotus, y'all getting a relationship here. She says, I'm totally afraid to start another relationship. I'm a total introvert now. Anxiety is terrible due to my last relationships. I have no social life, no personal friends, and no real support system. I'm working on it though.
Well, listen, Lotus. I myself personally, I'm gonna be praying for you. I think I've met you one time before. You can always inbox me if you want to talk. We can talk. Anything you need. Like I'm always open to share my stories with people, and not even really going in detail because the people still live in Lexington, and some people know, and I'm not trying to put them out there because people have changed over the years. You know what I mean? So it's not me trying to put somebody else out there. But if you ever want to talk to me, inbox me, and we'll talk. And that goes for anybody out there that's listening.
Yeah, inbox Tina. Was you about to comment on something?
Nah, I just want to say, man, I know we have limited time, but man, I just wanted to touch on a couple things. So within the comments here, we have a few people who have listed contact information that where if you are in an abusive relationship, where you can go and seek help. Also, like I don't think it's a bad thing to seek help from other loved ones. Now, you know, you may deal with an issue like Chrissy said, where the family or someone may not believe you, but then that's when you can go other outlets as posted within the comments as well. And one of the last things I want to say is, to me, I think it's very important, Q, what you pointed out about the 5 million children are exposed to domestic violence every year. Children exposed are more likely to attempt suicide, abuse drugs and alcohol, run away from home, engage in teenage prostitution, and commit sexual assault crimes. I think that's very huge. So for all the parents out there, soon to be parents, or anyone who will eventually be parents, don't put your relationship, your abusive relationship, before the emotional, mental, and physical health of yourself and your children. That is very big. And me working in the school system, I see every day how a household can affect how that child is on a daily basis when they come to school. And sometimes it may not even, school may be their outlet, right? So they may tend to act out here because at home, this and this is happening, and the consequences may be way more severe at home, or whatever it may be, or vice versa, however. But I do want to also just say that I think Audra Thomas made a very good comment. I would like to know if anyone has any thoughts, if anyone's ever dealt with a reformed abuser. She just pointed out the Jason Kidd situation. Has anyone ever been in an abusive relationship and then went back and it was a healthy relationship where that abuser has gotten help and has been able to reform or whatnot? But that's it for me, man.
Man, it's Chrissy, we appreciate you sharing your story today. Today was a very deep topic. We got into it. We didn't get to the male side of it of domestic abuse. I wanted to touch on that.
Maybe we can finish that up next week.
We might be able to finish that up next week.
That gets dismissed a lot. Oh, ticket.
And all of you guys, thank you for sharing your story, and because that is being vulnerable as well. So we do appreciate you guys sharing your story.
You get to do the tickets.
You got the ticket giveaway thing over there? Yeah. So we gonna get this ticket giveaway for. If you didn't, my bad. You was just all into the story today. Yeah. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. So let's see what we got going on here. I'll still go through the comment section here while Jarvis does that. And like Tina said earlier, Lotus, if you need somebody to talk to, please, hit up Tina. I also posted the domestic abuse hotline. If you want to go that route, if you just want to feel like, you want to talk to a complete stranger about what's going on, or if you want to talk to Tina, who's, been through similar situations and can give you some guidance and point you in the right direction and things of that nature, while JT, who is supposed to be our IT guy, is supposed to be on top of this ticket thing, but I don't know what he's doing over there. And like Jarvis said earlier, we appreciate everybody who commented today, who told their stories, who had just something to say. Hey, that's what we do it for, Lola. We do it for the people. She said, thank you, just sharing this much has my anxiety acting up, but I feel so much better. Hey, if we help one person today, then we've done our job today. This is what this is about, is have an open dialogue about these type of things. And right now, Chris, you my shero right now. You my shero, coming on the show, opening up about, things that you've been through, and a lot of things that I'm pretty sure people who are watching have been through or are going through, but are afraid to tell or show somebody about what's going through. So JT, you got the tick situation over?
I'm looking.
Man, he ain't got it, man. We going. So we will.
You know what? We can go. Look, stick with us. Give us about 10 minutes. Matter of fact, we go live as soon as we leave here.
No, we just have a casting call for a third member of He Said, She Said. That's what we about to do. Open auditions are coming up soon for a third member of He Said, She Said.
Send us a headshot.
Because I'm about sick and tired of this right here. But yeah, everybody, we do appreciate y'all calling in.
Okay, the winner is.
You want? Let me see. You got it plugged up. So the winner is the random drawing is Miss Audrey. I'm gonna put it in the screen here. So Miss Audrey, please send us. He said, she said. It takes a little while to get up in there, but yeah, send us your contact information so we can get those 2 tickets to you, so you can go see Aladdin with whoever you want to go see it with. Jarvis, you want to say something before we get on up out of here?
Appreciate you guys tuning in, man. I think maybe we should do a part
Continuance of next week.
Yeah, and if any of you guys who are watching or listening or anything want to actually come in studio, we would love to have you guys in studio to maybe share as well. So go ahead and send us an inbox, and maybe we can get you guys in here so you guys can.
Put that in the comments section too after you get done.
Okay, so we can actually get the face and the voice in studio as well.
Right. We're gonna get up out of here before we get kicked out.
We already getting kicked out.
Yeah, we already getting kicked out. I'm surprised we still got a show as much as we've been cussing on here lately. But anyway, we getting ready to get on up out of here again. We thank you. We thank everybody for everybody tuning in. We thank everybody for sharing their stories again. Like Jarvis said, we welcome and invite any and everybody to come through. Tell their stories. Just come kick it with us as well. We gonna get up out of here. We want you to go check out the Facebook page, the Instagram page, share. Make sure you tell a friend to share this as well. And we're going to get on up out of here. We want you to treat somebody how you want somebody to treat your mama. We out of here.
Peace.